Hello and welcome to the series Launch Your Listing Like a Pro. My name is Gwen. I am the owner and founder of Happier Days Transaction Coordination, and before I became a transaction coordinator, I worked as an agent for many years, and I'm here to share everything I've learned along my journey with you. The tip that we're going to go over today is the seller's disclosure notice prior to the MLS. So as you're preparing to hit the market, one of the key steps that you'll want to take is getting the seller's disclosure notice complete. While this is something that is not mandatory to go on the MLS, in my opinion, it's mission critical to have it done before you hit the MLS. And the reason why I think that it should be done prior to hitting the MLS is because there is critical information that can come up on there that you need to know, and it's also very important to be prepared whenever you are listing a property on the MLS. And there are things that may not come up in conversation with your seller that you may find out about on the seller's disclosure notice, and you don't want that to be when you're already on the market. For example, if they've had previous mold remediation, termite treatments, the age of the roof, the type of heating and cooling equipment, things like that, you're going to find out on the seller's disclosure notice. And I am the type of person who likes to be prepared instead of being reactive. And having the seller's disclosure notice complete before you hit the market allows you to do that. Another thing is being able to remove a contingency from the contract. So if you don't have the seller's disclosure notice to provide to the buyer at the time of going under the contract, the buyer's agent's going to write a certain amount of days in the contract for the seller to have to provide the buyer with the seller's disclosure notice, which just creates another contingency that is, in my opinion, unnecessary. And then once the buyer reviews that information, they have an amount of time that they're able to back out of the contract. So in my opinion, it's just best to go ahead and remove that possibility altogether by being prepared and providing them the seller's disclosure notice before even going under contract so that they can review that, ask questions about anything that's on there, and then not have that contingency in the contract. Now, tips for flawless and easy completion that I really wish I would have known about whenever I first started sales is sending the seller's disclosure notice through a platform called Seller Shield. It is so much easier than them doing it in person or signing through another platform that does not require 100% completion. So on Seller Shield, you're able to send your client an invite. It has your information on there. They know that it's coming from you. And there's two things that they're able to do on there. The first thing that's really beneficial is they're able to elect to get seller's protection. So in the event that any dispute came up over disclosure, post-close, they have legal protection on their side. And also, Seller Shield is able to help them and guide them through the seller's disclosure notice. It's able to provide explanations, tips, definitions that we as agents should not be providing to the seller, because every broker that I ever worked with had a huge fair warning: do not assist on the seller's disclosure notice. It can create a lot of liability for agents. So the seller's disclosure notice is just kind of one of those you're on your own type things, or I could get in trouble for giving you advice on this, and that just doesn't feel like the best customer service to provide. So whenever I found Seller Shield, it made the seller's disclosure notice process so much easier, and also they came back 100% complete. So whenever I would give this to them in person, or I would send through another signing platform that doesn't require 100% completion, I kid you not, half of the time it was not completely filled out. So Seller Shield, if they were to check yes to something that requires an explanation below, it will require them to input that explanation. So whenever you do receive the seller's disclosure notice, it's 100% complete. The sellers are able to be guided through the process, and you did not have to be the person advising them on the seller's disclosure notice. So all in all, I think it's a win-win platform. And then once you do receive the seller's disclosure notice back, it's best to review it in its entirety and request any additional documentation that you may need. So if something is listed on there, such as mold remediation, you know that you need to ask them for their mold remediation documentation. Same for termites. And if there are any major repairs that are listed on the seller's disclosure notice, you can go ahead and request invoices for those. It's best so that you can provide proof of the work being done, and also just makes you look professional having everything ready to go. And then you'll be able to answer questions whenever buyer's agents come along and ask you questions that you may not be privy to based off of your conversations in your listing appointment. But the seller's disclosure notice will make sure that you're ready to go. I hope that this video was helpful for you guys, and it makes your process of listing your property on the MLS even easier. If you guys have any other things that you'd like to learn about in the listing process, go ahead and drop a comment below, and I'll do my best to make a video on it.